Black Xmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody! Today we are looking at Black Xmas that came out in 2006 and was written and directed by Glen Morgen and is a remake of the 1974 original by Bob Clark, and this movie is produced by Bob Clark and James Wong from the Final Destination series. Let's go over the synopsis of this movie, and since it's a Christmas movie, let's tell it like a Christmas tale. So gather around, boys and girls, and allow me to tell you the story of Billy Lynn's. But to do so, I'm going to need my Christmas storytelling mug. And it also pays a little homage to the movie. You'll know why. So the story of Billy Lynn's goes a little like this. The year was 1970. A mother and father had their first child, who had a liver disease that made him look like Homer Simpson. The mother couldn't stand the sight of her husband or her son, and she did the logical thing. She killed her husband and hid the son in the attic for his entire life because leaving their sorry asses was never an option. And after 7 hard years of riding this pathetic piece of shit's cock, she finally decides the best thing to do at this moment is to fuck her 12-year-old son. And after giving birth to Agnes, she's finally happy because it's 1991 and 21 years later she still looks exactly the same. This woman ages amazingly. But then one fateful night, her son breaks out of the attic unexplainably, like it was so fucking easy, and kills the white trash husband who's still in the picture, and rips out the eyeball of his sister daughter, and then beats the shit out of his mother over and over and over again and makes Christmas cookies out of her. He gets sent to the sanatorium where he breaks out later on to hunt down and kill all these sorority sisters at this house where he used to live with his sister slash fucking daughter. The end. Now, before I go over any positives and negatives, yeah, this movie is based off of a classic in the 1970s, and I want to say this right now, that I have no bias, so you can trust my opinion, alright? I know you probably see a lot of reviews out there that are always by some guy who's like, I like the original better. As of right now in this recording, I have not seen the original. I haven't. But I've heard enough to know where there's homages in this movie. Like the sanatorium in this movie is called Clark Sanatorium. Bob Clark, who directed Black Christmas and ironically A Christmas Carol, a story. The one where it was like, oh, you'll shoot your eye out. That child movie that we were all forced to watch in school that I fucking hated. So I know the homages in this movie, but I'm not going to have a biased opinion about this movie. I can still tell you it sucks and be like, yeah, I know it sucks. It's a slasher, but yeah, there's some shitty elements to this movie. But after this recording, I'm going to go watch the original for the first time. Lucky me, because I've heard so much about it that the expectations are set so high, but I'm going to try to keep them low because I don't want my experience to be ruined by you assholes who set the movie way too high, alright? So I'm just going to tell myself that the original is terrible so that I'll enjoy it. Hopefully you guys are right. Hopefully the original is good. Alright, so this movie, it came out in 2006. I was probably 11, 12 years old, and I saw it at the theaters with my mom and my current girlfriend at the time. 5th grade. That was interesting, and I got to see this movie. There's no nudity in this movie. There's partial nudity, so that's a negative right there. If you like to see that box check nudity. You don't really get too much of it, even though the actress in this movie from Final Destination 3 and Wrong Turn 2, she's not shy to show her tits, but we don't get to see it in this movie. You see side boob. But I just remember being in that audience. Like, it's one of those weird memories from being like 11 years old that I still have in my head. We went to a weird theater that I had never been to since, and I just still remember that night. It's odd. This movie has a lot of Final Destination crew members behind it. You got the director, Glen Morgen. He wrote and directed this movie. He was the producer of the Final Destinations. We have James Wong producing. He's from the Final Destination movies. We get Glen Morgan's wife in this movie. She plays Claire or Lee or whatever. She was Miss Luton in Final Destination 1, who got the computer screen in her neck and the stab, whatever. So this movie, as a positive, has familiar faces and people behind the camera that I like and enjoy, like Shirley Walker. She's the composer for this movie, and she died halfway through this movie, like in production. Like making the score for this movie, she died. So then, like, you might notice that the score kind of changes a little bit. You hear Shirley Walker's score because it's kind of similar to the Final Destination movies, which I love. I love her score in those first 3 movies, and it's sad to think that this movie was her last one. But anyways, yeah, my positives for this movie, I'll just get those over with quick. Like, this movie's not good enough for even nostalgia to save it, but let me just go over the little things I like. Okay, I like that it's Christmas. Like, they don't just say it's Christmas for no reason. This movie is Christmas from the beginning all the way to the end. Christmas trees, lights, The atmosphere, the cinematography is good. Lots of Christmas lights and songs. They have that Sugar Plum Fairy dancing song. They make it creepy in this movie. We get the phone calls back. We get the garbage bag thing back. The eyes, whatever. The unicorn thing. So we get homages in this movie, and that's always fun. Just a little fan service. And the carnage. The carnage in this movie is there. It's brutal. Like, I love when he's beating the shit out of that woman with that rolling pin. It's probably the most brutal death in this movie, and it's well deserved. Because like I said in my little synopsis, that woman deserved it. She killed her husband, who was apparently a Marine, and couldn't fight this white trash beer gut asshole. I don't believe that for a second. And I don't believe for a second that they live in this giant fucking house that hasn't been changed. You know, the flashbacks in the present day, same house, same look. Why does this family of one kid live in a house that's a sorority house later on with a dozen rooms? What is their occupation? She does not look like she works, the mother. So yeah, just there's things that just make you go, what? Why? But yeah, lots of blood, lots of carnage. It does have a decent body count, but there's a little con attached to that because every body kill in this movie, every kill is just an eyeball gouge, a rip out, like garbage bag over the head, stab in the eye, rip the eye out, eat it, hang it on a tree. It's just eye, like way more than See No Evil. This movie is just eyeball gouges throughout. There's only a couple kills that are sort of creative, and those are the ones that I like the most. I enjoy the cast. I don't enjoy the characters, but I enjoy the cast. We get Katie Cassidy from the Friday remake, and When a Stranger Calls. We get Mary Elizabeth Winstead from Final Destination 3. There's more Final Destination family in this movie. She has a decent character. I mean, they're all not likable. None of them, really. Like, Katie Cassidy is the only one you can really root for in Lee. I swear to God, they focus more on Lee and her backstory. Is that how you say her name? Lee? I hope I'm saying it right. Leigh. Lee, whatever. But they focus on her way more than anybody, and she, like, arrives 2/3 into the movie because she's the director's wife, so therefore her character gets more development than everybody else. Not good characters, but the cast I enjoy because they're familiar faces from horror movies before, so I like that. And like I said before, I enjoyed the score in this movie, at least half of it. When it's Shirley Walker, it has a good score. Some moments are weird. There's weird sound effects in this movie. I swear to God, there's a moment where there's a train sound. When you see Billy's face in the attic, and he's chasing Katie Cassidy, there's like a train horn going on. Like, there's weird sound effects in this movie. But yeah, the rest of this is just negatives. Let's just be honest. Like, this movie, if you want to play a drinking game, other people say, you know, drink every time you see an eye kill. No. Drink every time there's a shot that's slightly panned up or down or just like looking up or looking down, because it's every other fucking shot. The camera's never... Let me just put down my mug. The camera's never looking straight. Like, every third or fourth shot's looking straight, but everything's just like up, down, up, down. Everything's just looking up. I mean, there's a few situations where it calls for it, like a POV, they're actually looking up. That makes sense. But every other shot, just characters up, down, up. That's the artistic style of this whole movie. It's just up shots and down shots. Everything's angled weird. Now, it makes no sense. This movie does not know how to build tension whatsoever. There's no tension. Some of you might feel tension at the beginning. Some of you might feel tension when she's stuck in between the walls and she has to get her out. That's like maybe the best tension-filled spot right there, because you know she's like fucked. Like, oh, how are they gonna get her? But the rest of the movie is like, you see it coming because they show you that it's coming. It's like, oh, she's walking through the attic. Oh, here's a shot of Agnes coming, and then here's her. You know it's coming because we already established that there's a kill in the attic. You see things coming, so therefore there's no tension. This movie doesn't try. And this movie does not try to pull a double killer like, oh, no, there's two killers? Really? I feel like that's what they were going for, and they failed completely on all cylinders. If you thought that there was one killer, you're stupid. You have to be, or a child. You're telling me you didn't notice the man with the blonde wig killing people throughout half this movie, and then it cutting back and forth between sorority house and sanatorium with Billy with the black hair, two completely different hair colors and lengths. How did you not notice it? And this movie even tries to make Eve, the dork with the fucking ponytail and dark, big, thick frame glasses, like some sort of like red herring. Like, oh, she might be Agnes. Okay, well, she'd be 23, so I guess the math might add up. Like, yeah, she could be Agnes, because apparently Agnes in this movie is supposed to be like 23 or 4. So the fact that she's still at the sorority house, is she trying to be a doctor or something? I don't know. But if you thought that she was Agnes, again, stupid. They didn't set that up properly. They tried, It failed. And they hired a man to play Agnes. A clear, visible man with man features. Yeah, we're supposed to... Oh, it's an incest child. She's supposed to look ugly. Yeah, but she's not supposed to be looking exactly like a man, talking like a man, and fucking have the strength of a man when she puts that bag over the douchebag boyfriend's head and just lifts him right out. Like, no. Not buying it. And yeah, the backstory. The backstory makes no sense when you think about it logically. Why she stuck around, had her son in the attic. Why didn't she kill the son? She hates him. But no, I'm gonna keep you in the attic in case 8 years from now I want to fuck you and have kids. Stupid. Why is he yellow? That plays no part of the story. It's just something thrown in, shoehorned to be an interesting thing. Like, oh, this might be interesting. Yeah, killer Homer Simpson. Very interesting. Billy's escape from the sanatorium. Bullshit. There is a yellow man walking out of your hospital or sanatorium. It's very obvious. And then he immediately takes off his disguise outside the building like he's still not gonna, like he's in the clear. Oh, I just stepped outside. I'm clear now. Take disguise off. And he also escapes because of the worst security guard fucking ever. Like, he opens the padlock. He's like, I don't see him, so therefore he's gone. So I gotta open the door and leave it wide open. Stupid fucking dumbass. Just tons of bad character decisions. People splitting up. People not wanting to leave when they should leave. You got a neighbor's house that's literally 50 yards away. Their house is lit up. I'm sure they have a phone. And this movie has all those stupid horror cliche inconveniences to the characters. Like, the police are busy right now because of the storm. They can't get to you for 2 hours. Where do they live? That's 2 hours away from the cops. If when Katie Cassidy's at the hospital, she's in the one room that has a broken doorknob. Oh, okay. And when she hits the emergency button to let the people at the front desk know that she is in trouble, guess what? There's Christmas carolers drowning out the fucking noise of the button. Like, really? Seriously. Inconveniences. And like I said, these characters, they're paper-thin caricatures of just cliche horror people. They're not interesting. We got the drunk. We got the drunk slut. We got the woman who's a nerd, but we don't know much about her. She's just a red herring to be a red herring, even though it's ridiculous. And then we got the one who just wants everyone to be nice and to each other because it's Christmas. Katie Cassidy. Just, they're all the same generic pieces of shit. And the boyfriend, why does he have to be someone cheating? Well, because we gotta make him an asshole before we kill him. And like I said, there's just too much eye kills. I mean, we watch a horror movie like this, you want it to be creative, but they're all just eye gouges. There's a couple of interesting ones, but they're all eye gouges. And it's ridiculous. Do something different. And then we just got the evil that just is hard to kill. You know, they clearly are lit on fire. Both of them. That house in between the walls in flames, and they survive it. And Billy gets half his face burnt, but Agnes is completely fine. I find that to be complete bullshit. I could go on and on about stupid things that make no sense. How that drunk girl didn't wake up sooner, being filled up. Little just things everywhere. She takes a 15-second shower. Literally, we see her enter the shower, and 20 seconds later, she's out of the shower. Is there a science behind taking a shower that makes you less drunk and less nauseated? I don't know, because I'm mad drunk. So therefore, since I don't know if there was a real legit reason behind that shower and the drinking, to me it just looks like something that was shoehorned in and be like, oh, let's just throw some partial nudity in there to have partial nudity. But hey, I'm a guy, I guess I can't complain, right? Whatever. Katie Cassidy takes Billy out very quickly. Like, there's a 20-second fight at the end down the hallway. He trips her, and then he stabs her right in the back, and then she turns around and just throws him off the balcony, and he dies immediately. I found that to be bullshit, too. I mean, seriously. How did she overpower him that quickly? It makes Billy look like the clumsiest son of a bitch on the planet. It's like, oh, he's gone. Bye. But yeah, I just feel like this movie focuses too much on the killers. There's no surprises, no punches pulled. It's just being as ridiculous as it can be for the sake of being ridiculous. And that's what this movie is. That's the one word to describe this movie, is ridiculous. It's just being brutal, ripping out eyeballs, and telling a ridiculous backstory that should have been trimmed down tremendously. People go, oh, well, you know, this is Bob Clark's idea. You know, this is what he really intended. Well, guess what? He didn't use it, and I think there was a reason behind it. Kind of like how Freddy was supposed to be a pedophile, but they never really said it. They took that out of it. But before I go, I would just like to drop another random thing. I stuck through the credits and I noticed that the guy who played Agnes is a camera assistant. He worked behind the camera in this movie. So, yeah, just a little random thing to say. I guess they had a very low budget. They're like, alright, we need to take camera assistants and make them the killer, even though he looks like a man. clearly. But yeah, overall, this movie isn't terrible. It's like one of those so bad it's good movies, or if you're not on board, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. As a kid, I really enjoyed this movie. I've seen this movie over a half a dozen times now, probably a dozen. But I mean, the kills are there, the blood's there, so this is definitely a slasher for slashers. People who see the original, they hate this movie, at least 80% of them. There's a few of us who still enjoy this movie. It's not terrible, so I'll just say that when it comes to Black Christmas, if you like blood and creative kills, brutality, this is still worth at least one watch, so I would just rent it at Redbox. The Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill is going to go to the girl who gets the back of her head chopped off with an ice skate. This is one of the most creative kills in this movie, and therefore it definitely stands out because everything else is eye-gouging. And the Mr. Twig Award is a tie between Mary Elizabeth Winstead and the Santa Claus at the sanatorium. They both died the same way with blood splatting off screen, and we don't know exactly what happened. So yeah, they're both kind of lame. Plus, I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I didn't want to see her die, and I felt that they were trying to make her killable towards the end. Like, she's like leaving the house, like, no, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, how cold are you? There's people still here. We need to stay. And she's leaving. They're like, oh, she deserves to die now. How dare you even attempt to make Mary Elizabeth Winstead unlikable? She is a scream queen in my opinion. Final Destination 3, The Thing, many other things. Love her. But those are my thoughts on this remake. Do you hate it like everybody else? Let me know if you are in the minority and you actually enjoy this movie. Like me, I enjoy it for its stupid, silly, ridiculous story. I wish they didn't have Agnes in this movie at all. It's not needed. But other than that, you still got some kills. It's got the slasher element to it. Christmas vibe. It's definitely a movie that's fun to watch every Christmas. Not something you want to visit throughout the year, but it's still fun. It's kind of cheesy. I like it. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think about it. And as always, you can support this video by clicking this like button over here. And you can support this channel by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds to subscribe to see more ridiculous content from me. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.